Hello everybody, it's Justin here again, back with part 2 of my Call Alt Delete videos. So this time I'm going to go over my autograph haul for Call Alt Delete. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, I wasn't expecting to get this many autographs from Call Alt Delete. When I saw the guest list for Call Alt Delete, I thought I had very few things to get signed at this convention. But oh my gosh, I ended up getting more than what I wanted to get signed at Call Alt Delete. So without further ado, here's my entire autograph haul. So the first voice actor I met at Call Alt Delete was Rob Mungle. I don't really know that much about Rob Mungle. I just saw that he was on the guest list, and I went through the internet and found what animes that he was in. So I only got 2 things signed by him. So the first thing I got, and this is an anime I got on Black Friday, it's Angel Beats. He was one of the side characters, I believe. I didn't watch this yet because I just got this very recently, so I can't wait to watch this. And the second thing I got signed by Rob Mungle was Devil Survivor 2, the animation. He was the Berserker in the show, so I'm glad to get this. So that was it for Rob Mungle. I hope to watch more shows that feature him as a character, so let's move on to my next voice actor. Now the next voice actress I met was Marianne Miller. A lot of people may know Marianne Miller as the wife of Little Kuribo. So the one anime that I really know Marianne as is Yuta in Squid Girl. So I got Marianne to sign both my copies of Squid Girl. There was one scene in Squid Girl where I thought was really hilarious. So it was an episode where Squid Girl was making a sandcastle, and Marianne's character Yuta was talking about how Squid Girl's sandcastle looked like poop. And it was such a funny scene. So on this copy of Squid Girl, Marianne commented on that, and she wrote "Poop Castle" on it. Well, and that was because of that funny scene in the show. If you haven't watched Squid Girl yet, I highly recommend watching it. It's a really funny and entertaining show. And also, if you're a big fan of Christine Marie Cabanos, that's another reason to watch Squid Girl. So the next voice actor I met at Call Alt Delete, and this was the second time meeting this person, it was Vic Mignogna. And before I got this autograph, oh my gosh, he had a really long line. So the last time I met Vic Mignogna was at Youmacon, and compared to Youmacon's line, I'd say Call Alt Delete is much worse than what I experienced at Youmacon. So I ended up getting 2 autographs from Vic Mignogna. It was 1 autograph per person on Saturday and Sunday. So the first thing I got Vic Mignogna signed, and this is what I would have gotten signed at Youmacon if they didn't cut the autographs down to 1, and that's Full Metal Panic Fumofu. A lot of people may know Vic Mignogna as Kurtz Weber, and the reason why I picked Full Metal Panic Fumofu, and this is the reason why I got Greg Ayres to sign this back at Anime Midwest, was because of the hot spring scene. The scene where Kurtz, Kazuma, and Ono D were trying to sneak into the women's bath, and all the funny scenes with Sosuke trying to prevent those 3 from going into the women's bath were just hilarious. And another character that Vic Mignogna played was Pony. That was in the episode where there was this sex offender, and he instead of doing the dirty deed, he gave all of his victims ponytails, and it was a really funny episode in the show. So I'm glad to get Vic Mignogna to sign that. And the second thing I got Vic Mignogna to sign was Persona 3 FES, which is probably the best version of Persona 3 if you don't want to play as the female protagonist and you want to play as the male protagonist. So he was Junpei. A lot of people probably know about Junpei and his relationship with Chidori, how much of a pervert he was, and he wore that cool baseball hat. So yeah, I got that signed. So let's move on to the next voice actress. Now the next voice actress I met at Call Alt Delete was Kristen McGuire. Kristen McGuire has been known to do voice work for several of Funimation's broadcast stubs. So unfortunately, I did not have anything for her to sign at Call Alt Delete until I found out at the very last second that she appeared in a show that I recently bought called Haganai Next, and I found out that this was one of her very first animes that she did voice work in. So it was a shame that I wasn't able to get Kristen to sign this. So instead, I discovered that Kristen was also a really amazing artist. She was in the dealer's room selling a bunch of her artwork. So I ended up purchasing one of her comics called Enchanted, and she signed the inside cover, which was really, really cool. So I can't wait to read this comic and enjoy it. So there you go, there's Kristen McGuire. So the next voice actor I met at Calling Out Delete was DC Douglas, and this was the third convention that I've attended which had DC Douglas in it. And it took up to my third convention to finally go see his erotic fanfiction panel, and that was probably one of the funniest panels I've ever been to at a convention. So if your convention has DC Douglas in it, I highly recommend going to this erotic fanfiction panel. All you have to do is be at least 18 years old. So the things that got signed by DC Douglas, they're all video games, and these are all games that were recently released. So the first one I got signed by DC Douglas was Lost Dimension, and a very, very cool story about Lost Dimension was that when I got DC Douglas to sign this, I found out from DC Douglas that this was the very, very first copy of Lost Dimension that he ever signed at a convention, and I was just surprised. I was like, really guys? Nobody ever brought Lost Dimension yet? And I don't know why people didn't bring Lost Dimension. DC Douglas played a really, really cool character in the game. His name was George Jackman, and he wielded that really, really huge sword. And I was talking with him on Twitter on how DC voiced characters who wield really, really huge swords. He was Jazz in Eternal Sonata, he was Alexei in Tales of Vesperia, and they just have those really, really huge swords that they wielded. So it was really cool that DC signed my Lost Dimension. Then the next thing I got DC Douglas to sign, and this was a game that got recently released, and that was Xenoblade Chronicles X. He was HB in the game. A lot of voice actors are in Xenoblade Chronicles X, so I can't wait to meet more of the voice actors who are in this game, and I can't wait to play more of Xenoblade Chronicles X. I'm only about an hour into this game, so can't wait to play more of this. So the next voice actor I met at Calling Out Delete was Chuck Huber, and I met him at the dealer's room, and I only had him to sign one thing, and it was this print that I saw at the Artist Alley of Dr. Stein from Soul Eater. And I met Chuck Huber so many times, and the one funny thing he said in Dr. Stein's voice was, "I'm gonna take your spleen." So that was really, really funny, and I really, really like this print. It's a really, really cool Stein print, and big kudos to the artist who drew this. So the last voice actor I met at Calling Out Delete was Greg Ayres, and this time I finally attended Greg Ayres' panels, which I wasn't able to do at Anime Midwest or Anime Iowa. So I've been to 3 panels. I've been to his 18 plus panel, I've been to his It Gets Better panel, and I've been to his voice actor Q&A panel. So his 18 plus panel, oh my gosh, it was really, really hilarious. DC Douglas was there, and everyone got a huge laugh at that panel. And the next panel I went to was his It Gets Better panel. It was a really, really influential panel. It was talking about how people are getting bullied, how we can combat bullying, and what we can do as a community to prevent bullying. So it was a really, really informative panel, and it definitely raises a lot of morals. If you're one of those people who's a victim of bullying, this is the panel to go to. And lastly, I've been to his voice actor Q&A panel. And once again, another funny panel where he talks about all the voice roles he did. I was fortunate enough to ask him a question about Monokuma in Danganronpa, how he really enjoyed doing voice work at that show. So let's go over the things I got Greg Ayres to sign. So the first thing I got Greg Ayres to sign was Angel Beats, and I wasn't originally going to get Greg Ayres to sign this. The reason why I brought this for Greg Ayres to sign was that during his Q&A, he was talking about watching Angel Beats on the way to the convention and commenting on how sad this was. So that's why he wrote on my copy, "So sad." Now the next thing I got Greg Ayres to sign, and I finally got him to sign this. This was what I originally wanted Greg Ayres to sign at Anime Iowa if I didn't forget to bring it, which was Devil Survivor 2, the animation. He was Daichi in the show, and there was that one episode where Daichi was trying to summon demons, only to find out that he had really, really weak demons, and Greg said, "What? My demons are freaking weak," as a line, so that's why he wrote in my copy, "Derpy Demons for the win." It's just that Daichi, he just gotta have the weak demons. And then the last thing I got Greg Ayres to sign was, of course, Danganronpa the animation. I got Jamie and Greg to sign my copy. But Greg Ayres is Monokuma in this show, and he really enjoyed voicing that character. So other than this, I also got another thing that Greg Ayres signed for Danganronpa. He signed this Danganronpa print that I got from Anime Iowa. So the story about this Danganronpa print was that I ended up getting this print right after I got Greg Ayres to sign my program at Anime Iowa, so I didn't get the chance to get Greg to sign it at Anime Iowa. So I'm glad to get Greg Ayres to sign this finally. And he wrote on below Monokuma's belly, I think when Dylan got this signed at Anime Iowa, he also did that boop 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 boop. So I'm glad to get Greg Ayres to sign this. So next year I'm planning to meet more of the Danganronpa cast, so I can't wait to meet more of these voice actors very soon. So that about wraps it up for my Con Alt Delete autograph haul, and that wraps up my 2015 convention adventure videos. So I'll see you in 2016, where my next con will be Anime Apocalypse out in Schaumburg. So until then, this is Justin. Thank you for watching.